recording. Start that stream button. Wait for it to get over here. And we're live here on Facebook. Like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also like to welcome my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mike. A little groggy because I took a little bit of a nap while I was waiting for you to give me the heads up that you were ready to go this week. But it'll be nice. So getting ready to go to do our show together and then go to Good Friday services.
Yeah.
Over at our church. Mike, how was your abbreviated week? I know it wasn't a full week for me as I had today off and also took Tuesday off. But so it was kind of a short week. Went by pretty quick. So how was your week, Mike?
My week was all right. I had Friday off last week, and then I did this week, and it was a good week. It was pretty busy, but we got everything done. We got Tuesday off school. We had enough snow and ice and grossness that we ended up having a snow day midweek. It was kind of a good week. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we have a limited time. We're wanting to get this done within an hour, Mike, which is usually our goal from week to week.
Yep.
On a show. So we're going to be talking the NCAA tournament. Lots more upsets that have happened as the Elite Eight is forming. And we still got some games we still got tonight's game, which will finalize the Elite Eight. But we'll tell you guys how our brackets are doing and who is currently leading our pick 'em poll. And then we got to talk about, then we'll be going into the NASCAR corner and the Cubs. Mike, what else are we going to be talking about this week?
Gambling. Lots and lots of gambling on our show this week. As well as we might hit some NFL stuff. And, after that, we'll give you a spoiler alert. With that, Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, why don't you go ahead and roll that intro?
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Rich, sorry, I'm typing while I'm doing other things, and I missed coming back right away. But we're back. Sorry.
We are.
Before we do any of the sports stuff, let's get into our poll question. Poll questions, as always, brought to you by Rich.
All right, so this week's poll question was, we just went with a general breakfast casserole, whatever that means to you, or country ham.
I literally just voted on this right now.
Just voted. Okay, that's great. So now it's a final. Now that we're talking about it on air, Mike. But where did the votes fall, Mike?
It almost was tied because I really love country ham.
Okay.
But because we didn't specify which breakfast casserole it was, I voted for breakfast casserole, giving breakfast casserole a 6-4 victory. Let's give you the losing side of the bracket. We have Sue Hart, Brandon Close, Mikey O'Roderer, and Mark Malloy. On the winning side, we have me, Pam Hendricks, Matt Johnson, Danielle Hart, Rich Hendricks, and Josh Couture.
Yeah, this one was a good one to have for Easter weekend, as ham is usually associated with your Easter brunch or dinner. But a breakfast casserole was always something that was always done growing up, having breakfast casserole on Easter as well, because a lot of churches when I was growing up, you had like the Easter
Sunrise
breakfast. The Easter Sunday breakfast that would be before the service, and there'd always be at least one or two different types of breakfast casseroles.
Always.
Yeah. So I went with breakfast casserole. Always good. I think I prefer mine best with ham, diced up ham, or sausage with it in it.
The best breakfast casserole I've ever found to this date is a French toast casserole. Super delicious.
All right.
Super delicious. So, this week's is going to be, are you going to power up by eating your Wheaties, or are you going to play the what I always called the Ouija board of cereals, a.k.a. alphabets?
All right, Wheaties and alphabets. We'll get it up here once we wrap up this show, or tomorrow morning, something like that. But it'll be up and it'll be ready within the next couple days.
Yep.
All right, Mike, we're still dancing in the NCAA tournament as the tournament is rolling along with as we have some teams that have advanced to the Elite Eight. Probably two of those teams that we probably did not expect, as you got two SEC power SET teams that are probably more known for football than basketball, with Alabama and Auburn punching their tickets to the Elite Eight.
Clemson.
Along with Clemson. Clemson and Alabama, as well as UConn, who everybody expected to probably be there, and the Illini.
Yeah.
Which is a surprise because usually the Big Ten teams don't make it this far.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that the Big Ten didn't or that I'm not surprised Illinois did make it because they have a really good team this year, but I am kind of surprised at how good they're doing.
Oh, right. So that meant that Iowa State got knocked out, as well as, which is a local rooting interest. A lot of Cyclone fans here in our area.
I get a free Hy-Vee Chinese out of it this week.
You do? Why is that?
Because I made a bet with a guy who's a Iowa State fan.
Oh, okay. Cool. And so, Mike, do you have our bracket?
I have my bracket.
You have the brackets up.
Yeah, my bracket, I had North Carolina and Houston. Houston is still in it. They play tonight against Duke. Kentucky is out, so that's what. Yeah, I have one. I have potentially three of my four of my Elite Eight teams. Three Elite Eight teams that are still in it.
Yes, my teams, for the Final Four, I only have UConn and Tennessee still alive. As far as the Elite Eight goes, just Tennessee in the Midwest, Houston in the South. My West is done, and my East is done. So yeah, I only have Tennessee fighting for me right now.
So I still have
some points.
I have the Zags and I have Creighton still alive. I have Houston and UConn still alive.
Okay. So yeah. So projected points, Mike. Who is our current leader, just with the points that are available right now? And then who is our projected winner?
Eric Thompson has the potential. This is the possible points. This is not projected. This is possible points. Eric Thompson with 150. Captain Rory, and my second bracket that I made by accident are tied at 148. And then then Jets bracket is at 106. Then my bracket at 102. Oh, I missed you, Rich. You were at 116 still. Yeah, you still have 116.
I can get 116.
So you're ahead of Jet and me. And then Cody is only got 99 available left.
Yep. So I'm not in last place. Not going to be in last place this year, more than likely.
Yeah,
feeling good about that. At least.
I am currently tied with Jet at 50 points. So that's good. We'll see how it goes tonight.
Yep, tonight. All right, Mike, do you see what's coming up next?
Is it a left turn, Rich?
It is a left-hand turn, Mike.
And
what's after that?
It's another left turn because we're heading into the NASCAR corner. Presented, as always, by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. I know that they would love to see some people come down.
right, so last week, Mike, we were in the heart of Texas in Austin for the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas.
Yep.
Mike, your race winner was William Byron. Mike, your pick of Chase Elliott came in 17th. My pick of Ross Chastain came in 7th, which ties our score.
Yeah, we're tied.
Mike, what did you think of the race?
I realized that I don't like road course racing. I think it's
Really?
so road course racing gets really spread out, and especially if you ever go to a road course, you get a very small section that you get to watch, and the rest of it is from big screens. And if I'm gonna go to a race, why am I gonna watch the race on a screen?
Okay.
So
that's fair. I like it.
I can't do it.
I
So.
can understand that. But watching it on TV, how was the race?
It was all right. I thought it was all right. I wasn't a huge fan.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I liked it. But I guess there's talk that it's not confirmed whether they're going to go back to COTA for the 25 season.
Yeah. I mean, the 25 season's not confirmed for anything. So they might not go back to Iowa for the 25 season.
That's true. They might not.
We don't know yet. They are trying to mix up where they're going, which I think is great for the sport. Get to more of these tracks. And I hope they eventually go back to Chicago at Joliet. I think that's a great track. I hope they go back to some of the tracks that they've were purpose built for NASCAR. But man, yeah, I think COTA is a great place for them to go, but I also think that it probably hurts their traditional viewership. Rich, with that, we are heading into Richmond for the Toyota Owners 400 on Fox. Who do you think is going to win?
Well, Mike, Joe Gibbs Toyotas tends to dominate this race, so I'm going to have to go with one of the JGR boys, and I'm going to go with somebody that I haven't picked yet. So I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
And someone you don't hate.
Yeah, and somebody I don't hate. Yeah. Although, I mean, I'm tempted. Ty Gibbs was looking really good. He's looked really good the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with somebody that's got a little bit more experience. I'm not ready to pick Ty Gibbs just yet.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think that's a really good pick. I'm actually going to go with Kyle Busch, someone I didn't like up till this year. He's starting to grow on me for some random reason. I don't know why. I've hated him my whole life, and now all of a sudden he's growing on me, and I don't know why. It bothers me a little bit. I don't like him, but I definitely don't hate him anymore. So with that, Rich, anything else in the NASCAR?
I don't. The Toyota Owners 400 will be on Fox at 6 o'clock. It's like, that'd be 5 o'clock Central. So tune in to that. So, Mike, that's all I got in the NASCAR corner, so I'll go ahead and take us out. That was the NASCAR corner presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, and you can also find them on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. So, Mike, we're going to keep making left-hand turns. We're going to go to the baseball diamond as we got to give our World Series prediction as well as talk about the Cubs.
Yeah.
So, Thursday night was their home opener on ESPN, national telecast against the Rangers. They dropped that one 4-3 in extra innings. Mike, you said the Rangers would win. I went with the Cubbies.
Yep.
So a good game, though.
Yeah, it was a great game. I got to watch the 10th inning. We had to drive out to Sioux Falls last night, so had to get out there. And you know what? I am okay with it. Like, it was a good. It was a good game. They came out. They showed. Drew didn't show up as much as I think he needed to at that 10th inning.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I mean, I'm still kind of scratching my head on why Drew Smiley was.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Is on the team, but
The hard part is, like, he either spiked a ball or put it really close to being put in play. So he walked.
Yeah.
He ended up walking two guys. Had one.
I think one of those walks was an intentional walk, though.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, I think so. But then he put a ball in play, and that's the game. Can't do that in extra innings.
No, especially when you have that courtesy runner on second base to start the inning, which I still don't like, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, we're stuck.
So it isn't worth getting mad about. So all right, so Mike, this week they got two more down in Arlington before coming up to Chicago for 3 games against the Rockies for the home opener Monday through Wednesday. I think they get a day off, and then they welcome the Dodgers on Friday. So how many wins do you think they can get out of that?
I'm gonna give it 5. I think they get 2 out of 3 against the Rangers.
Okay.
I think they get 2 out of 3 with the Rockies.
Okay.
And I think they can win that one with the Dodgers.
All right. So Mike, I'm only going to give them 3.
Okay. And I don't blame you.
I'm going to play it safe. The Rangers are still a really good team. I don't know I think their pitching is suspect after Eovaldi, but they're still playing a great offensive team, so I think they're going to split the 2 games in Dallas. I think they can take 2 out of 3 with Colorado, although it wouldn't surprise me if they could sweep.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them beating the Dodgers.
And Sue Hart just chimed in and said she is watching us and just tuned in. Hi, Sue. Thanks for joining us. Speaking of the Dodgers, we do have to talk about Shohei Ohtani, as we didn't last week because it was very much a fresh and developing story that we didn't know a ton about. Shohei Ohtani apparently paid off a bunch of gambling debt for his bookie, but then it came out that it was actually the assistant, his translator actually logged into Shohei's Shohei's computer and used Shohei's accounts to send like $3 million worth of transfers or something like that over to some illegal bookie, and then it turns out that he never did half of the things that was on his resume that got him the job.
Yeah, that is a kind of weird situation with his interpreter. It almost was it a thing of he was in the right place at the right time, or they were buddies? But that kind of the one thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way about this is was the interpreter placing bets for Ohtani because of a language barrier?
Yeah.
Or I still want the whole story on what involvement Ohtani had in all this. Or is Ohtani gambling, whether it's baseball or other sports, and the interpreter is the fall guy for this?
Yeah, that's maybe. Man, there's a lot of good questions behind that. I don't know that we'll ever get real answers to any of that, especially because he has to go through an interpreter. It can make things a little weird. But I'm gonna say I don't think Shohei was actually gambling on it. Like, just if nothing more, the fact that the guy's resume was basically completely fabricated.
And the only thing he was in theory able to do was he at least spoke Japanese because he obviously interpreted.
Yeah. But outside of that, most of his resume was completely fabricated. So I'm not game with that. Like I think legitimately Shohei was just getting screwed over on that. So, yeah. Speaking of gambling and gambling stories. Let's.
So there was one funny thing that I
yeah.
saw a little bit come out of that is that supposedly I saw a meme saying that Pete Rose has now fired his interpreter.
Oh, okay. So it was Pete Rose's interpreter. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that does
it
make
was
sense.
Interpreter.
Yeah. So now we can put him in the Hall of Fame, right?
I guess.
I mean, I think he should.
Know.
Personally, I think he should be. Let's put it out there. I think the man should be. All the receipts that he has and he's released has said that he was gambling. When he was gambling, he was betting on his team to win and doing everything in his power to do that.
Yeah. For me, I still say just he was gambling, or he has the gambling receipts to show that he was doing that as a manager.
Yep.
Not as a player. So I would say that you can induct him, but you omit the part about how he's being inducted as a player, not as a player and a manager. And
Sure.
you separate the playing career from the managerial career.
Sure. I'm fine with that.
And induct him on those credentials only.
So as we speak of gambling, we do have to touch on the biggest scandal for betting. I would argue truly the biggest scandal for betting outside of Tim Donaghy. Toronto Raptors forward Jonte Porter, brother of Michael Porter Jr., a superstar in the sport, by the way, was putting $25,000 to $30,000 bets on the over under of he would bet the under on over unders for rebounds in a game
on his own
stats. And then he would shave the points. Basically, he would make sure he would win.
That's some shady stuff right there.
Legitimately, we now have a player not only gambling, but gambling on games, like gambling against himself and making sure those bets come across. That to me is huge. That is worse than that is on par with the Black Sox scandal. He needs to be blotted out of basketball. Because if you don't just right now nip it in the butt and basically be like, you're done, you're banned from basketball for life, then how do other players not end up doing stuff like this?
Yeah, it's tough. You can make the same case about the whole over. Well, of course I'm gonna bet the over so I can be better than what the crowds are expecting. Over isn't much better than purposely hitting the under every single time either. But I mean, I'm surprised this isn't the first time we've seen this, because how many times with more and more states opening up sports books, and even there being sports books right at these stadiums, or you can bring it into the stadium. With the phone app, with an app.
Yeah.
It's going to allow you to place a bet right in your seat before tip off.
I don't understand how this doesn't get Jonte banned for life. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think that's the only punishment acceptable at this point. Right?
Yeah, it's got to be life.
So, and again, the difference for me, this is why I think personally, I think Pete Rose shouldn't be banned for life. I think Pete Rose deserves to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, is because he never bet against himself. He never did anything where he was trying to hurt his team or control the outcome other than trying to win a game. To me, there's a difference between a money line bet on your team to win, and saying, I'm going to specifically bet that I can't perform up to what you think I'm going to perform, Vegas, and then doing so. There's a huge difference. So, okay. with that, Rich, let's get off of the court. Let's head off of the baseball diamond, and let's head to the gridiron. We have lots of football to talk about, starting with the UFL. Spring football is upon us, as tonight and tomorrow there is football being played.
Yeah.
Or is it tomorrow and
Spring League football? Yeah. I think it's Saturday, Sunday.
Sorry,
Saturday, Sunday.
I forget.
Spring League football. You can catch games on Fox, the Fox family of networks, as well as the ESPN ABC.
Yeah.
So they're putting these games on national television, not obscure cable channels that maybe half the cable subscribers don't get. I think that was one reason why the AAF didn't make it, because the games just weren't on a network that anybody got.
Yeah, you couldn't. You had to work to find them. Yeah.
I think they put games on like CBS Sports Network, a network that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Or NBC Sports Network or something like that. Yeah.
I thought it was they were controlled. They were more in line with CBS, but no games ever got put on CBS.
Yeah, it was dumb.
So,
but national coverage is going to help. I think the fame of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson brings is going to help.
And being financially backed by Fox Sports.
Yeah.
Is going to help as well. So you don't have a guy like Vince McMahon or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson floating the bill to keep the league alive. You have a built-in broadcast partner. So I think that's what could make it work. But at the same time, we're having these conversations at the end of the year with, they're not going to be back, or are they going to be back? But I think this could have the best opportunity to survive, because you're finally not competing against other spring football leagues.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So, Mike, what we're going to do with the USFL, I'm not sure. I have we're going to look at our weekly coverage of this being, A, did we watch the game of our team that we're going to tell you we're going to follow? And B, did that said team win or lose? So, Mike, the first thing we got to get out of the way is, what team are we going to follow?
I don't know. So I looked at the teams. None of them really jump out to me. I'm not a big fan of most of, so I guess I'll go with St. Louis. Closeness.
I like St. Louis. Yeah, they are the closest, and they got a really great fan base.
Yeah.
The fans are gonna show up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get, I don't know. That's about the only one I can come up with that I like.
All right. I'm going to go with the Memphis Showboats. When I was trying to find a team, I didn't want a team that was sharing a market with an NFL team, so that cut off like half of the league.
Yep. I didn't want one in Texas, so that cut off half the league for me.
Yeah, so I'll go with Memphis. I'll go with the Memphis Showboats.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Mike, when we were going through our pregame, you also brought up, where they should be, or where possible markets they can expand to, and where teams should be relocated, in your opinion, Mike?
Yeah, so I don't think we need to do a doubling of of the expansion. But what I think they should do is I think they should move a couple of these teams. Mostly teams that are in markets that already have an NFL team. Like Arlington. They're literally playing at Jerry's World, aren't they?
They are playing at where the Texas Rangers used to play. But it's in the same backyard of Arlington Stadium.
Isn't that like across the parking lot? Isn't that all it is?
It is. Yeah, they share a parking lot with Globe Life Field, where the Rangers play, and AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys play.
Where Jerry Jones built a mega. Yeah,
that's right. Arlington, Texas.
Sorry, they don't need to be there. Where they should be, Oklahoma City.
I like it. Oklahoma City only has the Thunder as a professional sports team. I don't know if there's a stadium that you could put them in.
University of Oklahoma.
I thought they're in Norman.
Oh, you're right. They are in Norman. I'm sure there's a college in Oklahoma City.
That'd be a huge stadium.
Why not? Do it. You know that Oklahoma people will show up. You know that, and it's only a few hour drive. It's only like 2 or 3 hours from OKC to the Dallas area. It's like 3 or 4 hours. Do it. Let's do that. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, DC has a team. Why not?
They do.
Why not move DC to Orlando?
Ooh. I got you on that one, Mike.
Yeah.
Technically, the Washington Commanders do not play within the District of Columbia.
Is this team?
Yes, they do. They play at Audi Field, which is in the district.
I don't care. It's still.
I know. I agree. I don't. You're sharing a market with the Commanders.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's move them to Orlando.
I like it. There's a minor league. You got an MLS team.
Yep.
That they can share a stadium with, or if they want to be adventurous, they could go into Camping World Stadium.
Yep.
Which does not have a major tenant besides a bowl game, besides a couple of bowl games and the annual Georgia-Jacksonville football game.
Yep. My next one, Rich, this is actually one that you brought up.
Yeah.
We're going to go with Houston.
Yes. Houston, Texas does not need another team in that market.
They don't. You know where they should go?
Where should they go, Mike?
Austin. Make it strange.
Yep. Austin, Texas would be a great market for a team like this. There is no. The MLS stadium is there, and
why not?
You gotta do it, and you're still keeping your team in Texas.
Yeah, sure. Why not? By the way, if they were in Texas, I'd think about it. Think about supporting them. If they were in Austin. Okay, now that's where I think those teams should move. But I think there's going to be expansion. Here's the cities that I think need expansion.
Okay.
And a crazy idea that I think is awesome.
All right, Mike. So I'm looking at the list that we've jointly came up with.
Yep.
And markets that the UFL could expand to: Salt Lake City.
100%. Yep. Salt Lake City. Let's go.
You only got the Jazz and a soccer team there, so you got a stadium there for them to play in.
Yep.
Oakland, California.
Hey, they just lost their team. They're going to love you out there.
Yep, totally agree. San Diego, they lost their team.
San Diego. You know what that means, Rich?
San Diego.
It does. You're right. Agree to
yeah.
disagree. Now, here's my big-brained idea. You ready?
Okay, but before you do, that going to those three markets, that does allow you to tap into the West Coast.
100%.
And allow you to hopefully get in with football fans that don't have an NFL team, or in the case of Oakland and San Diego, that lost a football team.
Oh, we forgot one of the places that needs to move. We forgot to talk about Michigan. Speaking of getting out to the West Coast, because now we have 3 teams out in the West Coast. Well, let's put a 4th out there. Let's move Michigan to Portland.
I like that. They also have a soccer stadium out there. So I still, that's the one team of the current makeup that's kind of like head scratcher to me as far as Michigan.
Yeah. No, let's move Michigan to Portland.
They're the furthest away from everybody. They're the furthest away from all the current teams.
Let's move Michigan to Portland. Let's do that. Finally, now this is my big brain idea. You ready for it, Rich?
All right.
Okay. I want to make a team called the Nomads.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rich, I ride motorcycles. I know you don't. There's motorcycle clubs out there. They have members that are part of their motorcycle club that aren't assigned to a local chapter. They're called Nomads. Generally, they're guys that live like if I was a part of a motorcycle club, I don't live close enough to go to a chapter meeting every week. But if I did all the requirements, I would be considered a nomad. I can go to any chapter stuff. I can do stuff with them, but I don't have a permanent home. So here's what you do. You go to places like Iowa City. You go to places throughout the country that are never going to get a professional team, that have fields. Go to college stadiums. They're going to be massive. But I bet you, especially in the spring, if the school's not on spring break, you're going to get college kids that would love to come out and watch a game. Go to these colleges. Go to University of Iowa. Go to University of North Dakota. Go to Montana, Idaho. Any of these, go to Boise. Go to these big places that they don't have. They're never going to get a professional team, but they would have like the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
Call them the Nomads. Why not? By the way, all the teams practice in Dallas anyway, so they all have to travel back and forth every week, period. So it's just about getting a game in there. Put a game on Saturday at University of Iowa at Kinnick Field. You're telling me you wouldn't have 20,000 college kids plus locals coming for just the chance to be on TV? That's my proposal.
Just crazy enough to work. Or you use that nomad concept to maybe test a market where you're not sure. Could you get support there?
Yeah,
play 2 or 3 games in that potential market, and then jump to another potential market for 2 or 3 games.
Speaking of, we have 3 of those potential markets you and I came up with that would be good, but we're not sure. How about Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah, you're keeping that spring football in the South, so it's going to be warm.
Yep.
In the beginning of your season. I would go with either Lincoln or Omaha, Nebraska.
There you go.
No market in there. Nothing in that market.
Nothing going to happen there. Those would be great. How about Jackson, Mississippi? Good college town.
Yep.
Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah, I think I'd also have maybe it's a college town, but there's only hockey there, but Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that'd be great. I got a crazy one. How about, and again, the Nomad team could be the team that does stunts like we're gonna do a football game at Bristol, Tennessee's NASCAR track.
Yep.
Or we're gonna play on the infield of the Indy 500. You could do weird things like that.
Stage them at non-traditional places.
Why not?
Yeah, it'd be it's a good concept.
Sue Hart agrees. She likes it. She's on board. Once we get her convinced, getting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I mean, she'll just call him up. They're friends, I'm sure. They'll just call each other up. She'll be like, hey, my son has this great idea. He's not even going to charge you for it, Dwayne. Do this. So, these are just concepts. I think these would be great ways to make this work. And it would give you other options for, everything else going on. Get you in other markets. Get your fan base up more. All those things. So, Rich, with that, anything else on? Oh, let's tell people what our normal coverage is going to be. We're going to go in and say, hey, did you watch your team this week, Rich?
Yep. Yes or no?
Yep.
And did that team win?
Okay. Rich, I can answer at least one of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Every week. Almost every week. I almost guarantee it's going to be no. I probably won't watch. Because if you're going to compete with NASCAR, I'm going to watch that. If you're competing with baseball, I'm going to watch that. And if I'm watching either of those in a weekend, guess what? The rest of the time's family time.
That's right.
Sorry. I use up most of my football time with the NFL.
Yep. In the fall. In the fall.
When football's supposed to be played, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stay on the gridiron as we have new rules to talk about, Rich.
We do. We did have some new rules come out. So let's take the easy ones first instead of the ones that could be a little bit more controversial, I guess.
Okay.
The easy ones is that they're going to allow they have done away with the swivel hip drop tackle technique. You typically see that in rugby a lot. I guess it's become common in the NFL. Yay or nay, Mike?
I hate it.
I don't like it either.
I hate it. Here's the thing. When a guy's running, half the time this is the best way if you're catching a guy from behind to tackle him. I can't hit him up top because then I get in trouble for hitting his head. I can't do this hip drop tackle because now that's illegal. Like,
so one thing I also don't like this. It's going to be a hard thing to penalize.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I'd like to know that could have a lot of game-changing momentums.
Yeah.
If that type of penalty gets called for that type of tackle, I mean, is it the spot of the foul? Because I mean, if you had gotten penalized for that type of tackle, that could have meant the difference between just getting a 5-yard penalty that hopes you get the first down, as opposed to maybe a 20 or a 30-yard gain, because that's the only way you caught the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a terrible call. I think that it hurts teams a ton. I think it basically J.J. Watt, I believe, tweeted out, let's just put flags on him. Why are we waiting? And I agree. Like, as a defensive player, what are you supposed to do anymore? It's not fair for the defense anymore. This is a terrible thing. I hope that it doesn't last more than a year.
Yep, I agree. All right, you can now teams can receive a third challenge after one successful challenge. Previously, you had to be successful on 2 challenges before you received your third.
Yeah, I
like this one. You should be, if you get a successful challenge, you shouldn't lose it, but you shouldn't have to get 2 challenges correct before getting that third challenge. So I like that.
Yeah, and I'm all for more. Actually, I'm all for more challenges. I think you should be allowed as many challenges as you want as long as you don't fail. Once you fail one, boom, you get no more. Period. Like, I think take as many as you want. But here's the deal. Every challenge, you risk whether or not you will ever get one again in that game. You can challenge whatever you want too, by the way. In my opinion, challenge everything. Everything is under review. If Rich, you want to challenge whether or not I was lined up a centimeter offsides, okay. If you win, good. But guess what happens if you lose, Rich?
No more challenges.
No more challenges.
All right. So there's also a new rule about the double foul, but that's kind of hard to explain. So we're just going to go into the one that's probably gotten the most attention, which is a revamped kick-off play. Mike, give the Reader's Digest version of this.
So my best explanation of how this works: the kicker lines up on the 30 on the 30-yard line, right, or 35, something like that.
35.
Yep.
And the other 10 players on the kickoff team
all line up
on the receiving team's 40.
Yep. While the receiving team lines up on the 35, on their 35, on their defending 35. And nobody can do anything. Nobody can move except for the kicker and the return man until the return man catches the ball.
Or until the ball hits the ground.
Or until the ball hits the ground. Now, other things. If the ball lands outside the 20-yard line, it's considered out of bounds.
So it has to land in this landing zone every single time.
You have to be between the 20 and the back of the field, or it's considered out of bounds. The other team gets it at the 40. If the other team, if it bounces between the 20 and the goal line and then rolls into the goal line, the receiving team gets a touchback, and it is placed at the 20-yard line. And then finally, if you kick it out of bounds, or if you kick it all the way out, if you kick it into the end zone and it doesn't land until it hits the end zone, or out of the end of the end zone, it's a touchback, and the receiving team gets it at the 35-yard line.
Okay. Last few seasons, they've gotten it at the 30, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they've gotten it at the 25.
Okay.
25.
So do you like it or don't like it? Or is it a wait and see? Because they have said that this is going to be a one-season trial.
I like the concept. I like that we're trying to get returns back into the game. I don't think this is gonna fix off-ball injuries on those plays, but it will not really fix the game, the injuries for the return men. That's number one. Number two, I kind of like getting these back in. It's nice, but I have problems elsewhere.
Okay.
Like, what was the other? There's other parts of this rule. There were other. No onside kick.
No, you can still onside kick.
Oh,
you just have to,
to
early identify that I'm going to onside kick.
And you
so
have to
you have.
But you
so
also have to wait.
Surprise onside kick.
You also have to wait to the fourth period, to the fourth quarter, and you have to be trailing. You cannot onside kick if you're ahead.
I did not. I overlooked that one.
Yeah. So parts of it I like. Parts of it I think are the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So yeah. Okay.
All right. So yeah, I guess I like it, but I'm kind of scratching my head. If this was such a great concept and thing to put into football, why isn't the USFL using it?
Yeah, the XFL used it. It was the XFL's
exactly.
Baby. I don't know why. I think it's I actually think it would be fun. By the way, I would add. Speaking of XFL and USFL and UFL, how about XFL conference teams? The home team The home team is the team that decides. The XFL team at home, you use XFL rules. At USFL teams, you use USFL rules. But anyway, that's a stupid concept. Let's get back to the NFL rules. It's all right. It's whatever. I'm not huge on it. I'm not great on it. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Right,
I want to see what it looks like.
All right. Besides Sue Hart commenting with our, before we get into a spoiler alert, Mike, do we have any other show reactions or comments that we need to report? No reactions.
Okay. We do have Rich. She did say, "Good one, Rich," talking about your joke about the meme that you saw about Pete Rose firing his interpreter. But outside of that, she also said that she liked my idea for a nomad team. Okay, with that, spoiler alert. We are getting ready to talk about The Masked Singer. If you don't like The Masked Singer, that's all right. You don't have to. We don't. We know that it's not for everybody. We do. We enjoy it. We talk about it on this show. We are going to be talking about it here in just a few minutes. If you don't want to know what happened, thank you for being here. It was great having you here. We'll see you next week. We'll be on. You can catch us on Facebook Live if you want to join us and comment and get shout outs like Sue Hart, or you can watch us later as well. Also, our poll questions are at facebook.com/fansofballsandsticks. Rich, if they are watching us on Facebook but they want to take us on the road and listen to us, what should they do?
Look up Balls and Sticks wherever you download all of your other podcasts. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, just to name a few. Mike, if they're listening to us in podcast land, but they just don't like Facebook, where else can they see our show?
You can see us on YouTube. Check us out on youtube.com/ballsandsticks, I believe.
All right, Mike, so that should be a good enough spoiler alert. So this week's episode has a theme of TV theme songs.
Yep.
I thought it was kind of I didn't think that any one singer really stood out with the format that they used this week.
Yeah. So, you had the Clock singing Good Times.
Mm-hmm.
The theme song for Good Times. You had
the Poodle Moth singing the theme song from One Tree Hill. Was it One Tree Hill?
No, it's The
Hills.
The Hills.
The Hills.
By
okay.
Natalie Bedingfield, unwritten. You had Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, sung by The Lizard. And you had Love and Marriage by Frank Sinatra, sung by Sir Lion. Rich, your bottom two were The Lizard and The Lion. And they came together to sing Who Are You, the theme song for The Masked Singer and CSI.
Yeah, my favorite performance of the night was probably the Clock singing Good Times.
Okay. I will know in all honesty, folks.
You haven't had a
haven't seen
chance to watch it yet.
I will watch it tonight or today, probably with my wife. We'll watch it in a little bit. You know what? We'll watch it. I don't care. I enjoy the show, even knowing who's who and what's what. I won't know till then. Rich, tell the people who got unmasked and who it was.
All right, Mike. It was Sir Lion, and it was E! News host Billy Bush.
Okay.
From E! News.
Yeah, Bill. I actually know who Billy Bush is, at least.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but once again, it was a tough week to really judge anybody really standing out. It was still a fun episode, but I don't know. Not one of the best themes they've ever come up with, in my opinion.
I think it's a great theme. I just think some of the songs they chose were pretty terrible, it seems like. So,
gotcha.
I think there's way better songs you could have done, and there's tons of theme songs out there. Like, why not sing, "This is the story of a lovely lady"?
Yeah, the Brady Bunch theme would have been fun. The one that came to my mind of one that's maybe is a longer song, not just a quick 30-second snippet to introduce the show. I was almost expecting the theme from Family Matters or from Full House to get sung.
Yeah, you would have thought something like that. And Disney owns both Fox and the TGIF shows, so why not? So, I don't know. With that,
so
Rich.
So next week it will be the Group C finals.
What? I didn't even look at that yet.
Yeah, it's going to be the Group C finals.
They don't want me to prove you. They don't want to have me be proven right yet.
I guess not, Mike. Although you could be surprised, there was a clue that was related to the Gilmore Girls theme song. Was a part of somebody's clue package this week. Week. Yeah, this week.
Could we have two Gilmore Girls alum on the show?
You could. I don't know. But Group C finals next week, so we'll make sure. And, we'll continue talking about The Masked Singer as the show moves on in this season.
So finally, Rich,
Yes.
Do you have any shout-outs for the show?
I do. I got to give a happy birthday to my wife's aunt, Deb. Debbie. Aunt Debbie is her birthday this week.
Happy birthday, Deb. You were going to ask me about my update for esports.
Yeah.
My team, we had a snow day, so we couldn't compete Tuesday. We're hoping to make that up on this Tuesday, and then it's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay.
Okay. With that, Rich, let's roll the outro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast with your hosts, Mike and Rich.